All right, parents, so we're going to kind of show you some basic things that we can do for simulating holding mitts. Some of you at home might have focus mitts. If you do have focus mitts, you can use those. If you have boxing gloves, you can use those as well. If you're using a boxing glove, I want you to make a fist, and you're going to use this part as the pad when you're holding for your child. Again, if your kids' boxing gloves are at the gym and you want to come pick them up at some time, let me know, and we can kind of go over these concepts with you. One of the things that we definitely want to talk to the kids about is when we're doing these mitt works, especially if you don't have mitts and you're just going to be using your hands, for them not to be throwing full power, right? To have just light technique and very light control so that nobody gets hurt. When I'm holding my hand, I'm going to kind of cup it a little bit. I don't want my fingers to be apart. Even if they're hitting light, they could catch a finger. So if you have like mitts or even an oven mitt or something that you can put your hand into so the fingers aren't separate, especially if you're not used to holding mitts or keeping that hand cupped, we definitely recommend that. But we still want to try to get the kids doing a few things. So we're just going to start out doing our 1 through 4, and that's really simple. Most of the kids should know this combination. There's another video that if it's not up yet, will be up in a few days where we will show all the 1 through 11 combinations. So the kids could actually shadow box those. They could do the 1 a certain amount of times, the 2, the 3. They could do like each thing for 3 to 4 minute round. All right, so we're going to just go into some general mitt holding concepts right now. And when I'm holding mitts, things that I don't want to do is I don't want to make myself too big of a target. I'm not going to hold my hands out here because I become 3 different targets. I'm a target here, a target here, and a target here. I want to maintain that I'm one target so they're only hitting in one area. So I'll often keep my hands in, and when they punch, I'm bringing my hand towards the middle. We're going to meet in the middle versus keeping here, because if I'm here, they have all these different targets and they're hitting all over the place, and I don't want that to happen. So I need to think about keeping my hands in. When they hit, I also don't want to slap. I don't want to smack the hand down. I don't want to like hit it. But I also don't want to be so loose that if they hit my hand, it knocks my shoulder arm back and I hurt my shoulder, right? What I want to do is like give a nice little high five. So if they punch, high five, right? And if they're punching light, that should be enough. I'm giving them a little bit of resistance. Again, I'm not trying to kill their hand and knock it down. The more you get in rhythm with your partner, the easier this is going to be, right? So my partner does just a nice little high five. So super, super simple. And then a good drill to start out with is just to do jab cross, just 1, 2. And you can kind of get in rhythm. And your partner can start out really light, so you can have your child start out really light, and then just kind of get in this rhythm. And then you get used to catching these mitts, and then feeling that resistance where it needs to be. Again, I'm not slamming hard, I'm knocking them down. It's just a quick high five. Quick high five. All right, so those are a couple things to look at when we're holding. Don't be wide. Quick high five, and again, make sure the kids know this. Like, we're not throwing full power right now, especially if you don't have actual mitts at home, right? If you have your gloves, you can hold those like mitts and do power. Otherwise, just light to get the technique down. So again, go back to the previous video that has the 1 through 11 hand combinations, and that's what I'd like the kids to start with. And for parents, I really want you to focus on the 1 through 4. The kids can watch that video and decide to shadow box any part of it that they want. But right now, with our drills that we're going to do right now, we're going to work on the 1 through 4. We're going to do the 1, and we're going to face every direction so you can kind of see what that looks like and kind of moving from there. So our 1 is just our jab. Now when I'm catching that, I'm always going to catch, 90% of the time I'm catching across, right? It's not going to be this side. I'm going to want my partner to hit towards that far mid. So when we start with the 1, I'll be here, and I'll actually say 1 so they get used to that. 1. And then my partner will throw that jab. 1. And my partner's getting their hands back to their face, making sure we're not dropping after as much as possible. I want this, especially right now with what's going on, I want this to be fun for the kids, and I don't need to jump on them about technique and whether their hands are up. And I am definitely not trying to beat them. When we get to other drills where I'm throwing punches at the kids, I am not trying to win, right? I'm trying to make the drill fun for them and making sure that they're still working. So my 1 is my jab, and I'm catching. 1, boom, and I'm just catching that. Now, my 2 is going to be the jab cross. So we're going to hit 1 on this side and then 1 on this side. Okay, so if I go 2, it's going to be jab cross. Again, just catching those nice and easy. So my 1 and then 2. 1 and then 2. Okay, so now we're going to go 3. We get into talking about holding the hook. Okay, When I hold the hook, I want to hold it as close to my face as possible, depending upon the control that my striker has. Because if I'm holding this, and we're thinking about those targets again, if my 1 and my 2 are here, and this is where I'm saying the head is at, my 3 shouldn't be out here, right? Maybe the person moves in that much, but not all the time. So on my 3, it's going to be 1, 2, and then catching here on that hook. Versus, don't do this, 1, 2, and then have them hit the hook there, okay? So really kind of work on that when you're holding for that 3. So my 3, 1, 2, 3. Again, my 3, 1, 2, 3. And again, just giving it a little bit of high five and catching that as it's coming in. Now our 4 is going to be just adding a cross at the end of the 3. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and then the 4. Okay, so we do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that's going to be our first kind of like basic mid stuff we can do. I can also mix those up. Once I'm comfortable doing the 1 through 4, I'd recommend 3-minute rounds for the kids with a minute break as you're getting your physical activity in. And if you can punch light as well, you can have them learn to hold these for you, but it's the same kind of situation, like no power. Just work on the combos so you start to understand them. So I can mix it up. 2, 4, 1, 1, 3, 4, 2, 1, 4. So that's an easy way to just kind of mix it up and move around for 3 minutes. Right now, we're saying we don't have a lot of space. Maybe this is, when we're hitting mitts, as if I have a small area to work on. If we can circle a little bit, we would do the same thing with movement on any of those 3-minute rounds. So right now, we would just kind of move around. 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 4. So you can use whatever space you have available to you for doing any of these mid rounds. And again, building yourself up so you're getting more and more comfortable with each one. So starting with that basic 1 through 4. All right, so went through our basic 1 through 4. So let's talk about some options that are easy that we can add to it for this week. And then next week we'll probably give you some other things to add. But we're going to go through our rolls first, where we're going to roll under a counter punch. Again, with this, like, we are not trying to hit them. I am trying to get them moving faster as they get better, and I'm giving them the motion that they need to see and making sure that they're successful with this right now, right? If they're a professional fighter, I might be trying to sneak them and see if I can actually get a punch in and hit them really hard, or depending upon their level, I can increase how fast I'm going with this. But right now, I want to make sure that the kids are successful with this, learning the motion correctly, and understanding where they need to go. So my rolls are going to be, it can be off of the 1 through 4, and my partner will be rolling either side. What I need to make sure is that when I roll, I'm going to give them a big swing, a big look, so they have time to see this. And again, we're seeing this punch coming for right now. As students get better and they progress, and when we're back in the gym, they'll have a little bit more realistic look at it. I'm going to throw out the neckline, okay? What I don't want is like, and this happens a lot, is doing this, where he doesn't even have to move. I don't know how many times I see this, and I'm like, 2 roll, and it goes 2, and the person throws like this, and this person doesn't even have to get out of the way. That's not going to do them any good as far as learning their distance. So when I go 2, if I'm going 2 roll, this hand's coming at the neck, so my partner has to roll underneath, okay? And if it's off the 1, it would be the same. 1 roll right towards the neck, so they have to roll through, right? And giving them time to see that. One of the things we work on with our counter system is anytime we counter and we move to our right, we come back cross hook cross. If we come to our left, we come back hook cross hook. So that's going to make this easy for everybody. So if I go 1, I'm going to go 1. We're going to roll on this side. As we roll out, I'm going to come back, hook, cross, hook. Okay? So if it was a 3, it would be the same thing. If I go 3, 1, 2, 3, we're going to roll, hook, cross, hook. So if you're learning to hold mitts and you don't know these yet, that's what I might start with, is just do the 1 and 3 for a round. Go 1, boom, hook, cross, hook, 3. Hook, cross, hook, and just get comfortable with that. When we go to our next round, we can say we're going to do 2 and 4. So it's going to be 2, We're going to roll, and then off of this side, we're going to come back, cross, hook, cross. Okay, so 2 roll, boom, cross, hook, cross. Now we're going to 4 roll. 1, 2, 3, 4, roll, cross, hook, cross. Now, if you're a child and you know the 1 through 11 and you're working the whole number system, you can do any of the 1 through 11s for any of these combinations that you want to hit. So that's going to be what we're going to look at the 1 through 4. Now, if you have more room and your partners can move around you, when your child rolls, I want them to roll under the armpit and cut out and get an angle, right? So our first demonstration is always like if we have a little bit of room. Now we're going to say we have more room. So when you roll, head going under the armpit and getting the angle before we throw the counter. And we'll do this one slow. So it's going to be 1. My partner's going to roll out under my armpit, step and get the angle, and then we're going to come hook, cross, hook off of that, right? And again, we're saying we have a little bit more room. 2, rolling under the armpit, getting the angle, cross, hook, cross. Okay? So do that on this side. So 2, roll, cross, hook, cross. Okay? Making sure we're looking at those options as well, depending upon how much space we have. And I don't have to call out roll. If we have room, I can go 1, 3, 2 roll, right? And we can start building up onto these combinations. So that's going to be our roll options on the 1 through 4. All right, so now we're going to go into another option for blocking the hook if we're not rolling underneath it. We have a few different things we can do. We're going to do our head counters right now. And I want to talk about the concept of this. When somebody's throwing punches, my power, right, with this arm and my cross is going to be from here to here, is where I'm going to have a lot of power with this punch. Or if it's a hook, as I'm swinging, my power is going to be from this point to this point here on the shoulder. So when we're blocking these, what you're going to see is this person's trying to turn, and they're trying to block the punch while my arm is on the outside, and it's in a weaker point. We're not trying to block once it's in the center. So if you're looking at things your kids are doing, making sure that they're blocking and catching this punch on the outside, wherever it's coming from. So if I'm throwing this hook on the outside, my partner's going to turn and catch it out here, right? So that we're loading for this hook. And then we can come back and hook, cross, hook. And now I usually do off of the 1 and 3. The reason I can do this off of any number, but I like to do it off the 1 and 3 so it gets their hand back. Right? If I go 1 and then I do this, it forces them to get that hand back. I'm going to load that hip, and then we're going to come back, hook, cross, hook off of that. And we're going to do the same thing on the 2. 2, I'm going to throw this hook on this side. We're going to load, cross, hook, cross. Okay? So we'll go 1. We're going to come and block the outside, hook, cross, hook. And then we're going to go 2. We're going to block the outside, cross, hook, cross. Again, when we're blocking this side, cross, hook, cross. When we're defending this side, hook, cross, hook. So it'll be the same for the 3. 3, block, hook, cross, hook. 4, block, cross, hook, cross. So again, you can make that another round, right? So just kind of examples, I can do a round, just 1 through 4. A round with the rolls, a round with the head blocks and counters. I can do it with the slips, and I can do it with the pulls. And those are all the ones we're going to do for this week. But when I do the head counters, I'm just going to say, for now, 1 counter, so they know. So it'll be 1 counter, 2 counter, 3 counter, 4 counter. And obviously we have combinations we do with knees and with kicks with the kids when we're at the gym, but I'm assuming not everybody has kick shields or tie pads to do that with, so we're really going to stick with the hand combinations right now. If you do have shields or kick shields or things at home and you want to see some knees and kicking drills for the kids, or they have a heavy bag at home, you can message me about those. All right, so the next ones we're going to give you to kind of be able to work on this week are the slips. When I'm slipping a punch, I want to make sure that, again, this elbow is turning towards and over my opposite knee. So I'm slipping off the side and slipping that punch. And when we get to this again, I don't want you to miss on purpose. My hand should end up going over my partner's shoulder, right? And I see this a lot too. We talked about with the hooks when people are swinging too high, which doesn't do me any good. I start learning to move against punches that aren't going to hit me if I do that. And so it's a bad habit, because then I'm going to move into something because somebody's trying to set something up. I only want to have to move if it's going to hit me, and being able to move with the most efficiency as possible. So don't do this. If I go one slip, we'll do two so we can see better. So if I do two slip, I'm not going to punch out here, where he doesn't have to slip at all, right? That doesn't do him any good. I'm going to punch slow enough that my partner can get out of the way based on their level, right? And I'm always going to start air to the side of my partner doesn't know anything, right? And then if they look like, oh yeah, they're getting out of the way, then I can pick it up. I don't want to punch them in the face first and be like, oh, sorry, now I'm going to slow it down, right? So we're going to go 2, 1, 2, and then I'm going to throw my punch here, right? So he's getting off the line. This is where my hand's landing, and this is what I want to do. And then we're going to come back and just slip to that side again. Cross, flip, cross, okay? Now if I do the 2, again, 2 slip, boom, off to the side, cross, cross. Now 3 slip. So 1, 2, 3. This time I'm coming with my jab. Same thing. We're slipping off, and I'm here. I'm holding the shoulder. And then we're coming back. Cross. I will often with students, if I see them missing and throw it over my shoulder, I'll just stay there and see if they'll punch me in the face. Drop my head. And if they won't because they're trying to miss, then I'll adjust their hand back to the center. So definitely think about that. So our slips again, and again, just doing the 1 through 4 to give you another round that you can work on. So 1 slip, 1 slip, cross, 2 slip, cross, cross, 3 slip, 4 slip. Okay. Now we can start mixing these up again with rounds. As you're getting comfortable with this, mix in the slips, mix in the hooks, mix in all the different things. We can start kind of looking at potentially adding like 1 slip roll. If we do that, it's going to look like this. If I say 1 slip roll, it's going to be 1, we're going to slip, hook, cross, hook, and then we're going to roll right into that, hook, cross, hook. Okay? And if I do the same thing, 2 slip roll, 2, slip, cross, hook, cross, and we're going to go right into the roll, cross, hook, cross. You're really going to have to decide if you are ready for that as a mitt holder first, before you know if the kids are ready for it, and make sure you're comfortable calling out those combinations and doing them slow. And again, keeping it fun, keeping it active. All right, so we have gotten going. We've done our rolls, and we've done our slips, and we've done our head counters, and we've done our regular 1 through 4s. So we're going to look at our pulls now. Our pulls, for the time being, are going to be cross hook cross on the counters no matter what punch I throw. There's a hook cross hook counter for the pulls, but it's definitely a little bit harder to do, so we don't want to do that quite yet. So it's going to be simple. Again, off my 1 through 4. I'm going to go 1, my partner's going to punch. Whatever hand I have free, I'm reaching out so that they can pull back. And I'm going to go cross, hook, cross. One of the things I want to work on with the pulls, I have a couple options depending upon my stance. I can pull here, but I don't want to lean back, or I can take a step with it and come back in. That all depends upon range and how close the person is, right? And then I can also pop depending upon if they're really tall. So I can be here in my stance. I can pull and come back. I can step with the pull and come back, or I can go 1, 2, and then come 1, 2 back in and come back. That's all based on distance. So depending upon how far you make your punch go, your child can kind of adjust. Like how much do they have to get out of the way? I don't want them to lean back. This is not how we're pulling away from this. The only time we would do that is if we're really confident in defending a head kick with that motion. But for now, since it's punches, here, here, or here to come back in. All right? So we're going to hit that again. So 1 pull, 1 pull, cross, 2 pull, pull, cross, 3 pull, cross, and 4 pull. So those are going to be our basic pull mechanics. That'll give you plenty of mitt stuff to do for the next week. Again, just do a round of everything. A round of 1 through 4, you can make it a 3 or 4 minute round. And then do a round of mixing those up, make the 1 through 4 random. Then do a round of 1 through 4 roll. Then a round of 1 through 4 counters. Round of 1 through 4 slip. Round of 1 through 4 pulls. And then you can mix it up and do a round with a little bit of everything. Again, keep it fun. It doesn't have to be super fast. You don't have to get a ton of punches in. Just get in what's appropriate for your child. If you need to get some gloves, and your kids' gloves are here, again, make sure you message us so you can come and pick those up. And yeah, hopefully that keeps everybody going. And kids, if you want to shoot me a message or shoot me Facebook messages or posts or whatever, keep your communication, show me the artwork you're working on, whatever you're doing while you're at home. Love to see it. We'll see everybody back soon.